What's up everyone? Today, we're back with the CT 175, and believe it or not, since last time, I haven't made any progress on it.
Wow!
Now last time you saw this bike, we did get it to fire off, but not too well. Let me explain what I think is going on. So for one reason or another, it's not staying running. It can get strong spark, it's got very good compression, and even if I add fuel to it manually, it still won't run. So one of the main issues I think that's causing this thing to not run very well, or not run at all, is bad crank seals. See, even if I have some strong compression up top, bad crank seals down below can really mess with the air fuel mixture and not let it run. So what we're gonna do today is tear this thing apart, get in there and just replace these old seals as a precautionary measure, and then see if we can get it to run. So as we're peeking in here, not too much is looking bad, but we do have some oil residue. And actually, if we look on the bottom of that guy, right here, we do have some oil coming out. So that very well could be our problem. Let's hop over to the other side and see what it looks like. Ooh, check that out. So it looks like I'm gonna have to take off the foot pegs here. Just realized my mistake. These foot pegs are what also hold on the kickstand. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna get something to hold up this bike. Okay, that sent me for a loop. I was unable to get the cover off because of the pegs. I really need a motorcycle lift, but this gives us access to take a look in here and see exactly what's going on. So we've got our clutch basket here. This is our shaft that outputs to the oil pump, the auto loop system. Over here, this is our kickstart with the spring behind it. And then here's our gear selector system back behind the clutch basket. Okay, so we got the cases removed from the side of this bike. And let's just take a look here and see what we gotta remove. So on this side, we're gonna have to pull off the stator. Once we get that done, we should have access to the crank seal underneath. And then over here on the drinker side, we're gonna have to pull up this clutch bell. Once we get this off, we've got the gear selector set up to where we can get into this seal back here. And hopefully then we'll see really what the source of our leak is. Gonna have to try a different approach here. Okay, so I abandoned my first idea with the drill and the screw and ended up tearing into it with a seal puller, and it came up pretty quickly. So I'll probably end up using that on the other side as well. That's this little guy right here. Just dig a little hole hook in there and you can yank on it and it came out right away. So looks like that's what we're probably gonna have to do on the other side. Okay, so I've got the seal pulled out. I've been going with some cotton swabs and some isopropyl alcohol, and I'm just wiping in the surface, not only on the crank surface itself, but also on the surface of the crankcase where the seal will sit. And you're just gonna clean this until you can go around here and come back with a spotless Q-tip. And then on the outside, I took some Honda Bond, which is another form of RTV. I'm sure any type of oil resistant gasket maker you could use. but I just put a little bit on the tip of the pick here, and I was going around the edge, just putting on enough where it started to poke into the actual sealing surface. So what you're seeing on here, most of this is probably not gonna end up inside. Most of it will be left behind, and it's just gonna drag some on the surface into that crank sealing surface. So let's go ahead and put this thing in, get it pressed in place, and then let it dry and see how it does. That's how that was supposed to work before. Okay, so on this side, we just pulled out the distancing collar, and believe it or not, the manual says to pull it out with some pliers. And as much as it pained me to do that, that's what the manual says, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I really didn't see a better way to get it out, but now we have access to get our seal removal tool in here. It's amazing how much easier that comes out whenever you have access to it. All right, so this one was a little bit tricky just because we had to get the distance collar back inside, but we also had to get a very small O-ring removed from this, which is right here. So on the inside of this distance collar, there's a very, very small O-ring that I almost missed. But I remembered I had ordered it and promptly got it out, replaced, and we are good to go on this crank seal. Okay, a little update on the bike. We got all the seals in except for this little guy, and he goes on the back side of our clutch. And I couldn't get it separated, so I'm gonna leave it alone. There's not really much oil that sees on that side anyways. So we've got the crank seal right here, the shift selector, the shift shaft, and then on the other side, we've got our crank seal in here, and then we've got our new kickstart seal. So hopefully we're doing okay. I went through, measured the clutch friction discs, and these are all right at 4 millimeters, which is new spec. And then I also measured the springs, and they all measure right around 31.5, which is by the book. So looks like we're doing okay. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing all thrown back together. Actually, I might clean it up here first, just a little bit inside the engine cases, get this put back together, and then see if we can get this thing timed correctly and started. So, here we are again with the bike. I've actually torn it back apart, pulled the clutch basket off to address a couple of misplaced washers that led to some gear misalignment. So we've got that sorted, but while we've got the clutch basket off, I decided to get a set of files, and I'm gonna try to address a lot of this rough looking chewed up material from the gear misalignment. What was happening is the kicker idler sits on the back side of this and meshes with the gear that interfaces with the clutch basket. And that was off by 1 millimeter, allowing it to chew up and chew into this surface and really, really booger it up. If you can see that, it just does not look great. Now I've got one of these I'm purchasing from a forum member, but I'm gonna see what I can do to try to salvage this. If it doesn't work out, oh well, we'll swap stuff over and get a good condition one in there. But for now, I'm gonna see what I can do to salvage these parts that I've got, and we'll just go from there. All right, well, I just finished up one side of this, hitting it with the file just to kind of see how it would turn out. And I think it actually looks pretty good. Here you can see what the previous side looked like. Pretty chewed up, pretty gross. And this is after about 5 to 10 minutes of it, hitting it with the file. And I think it looks a lot better. It's not gonna be perfect. And let me show you real quick with the gear here. This is the one that it locks into, and you can see it's got this kind of interlock here. And that part of it's not interfacing with anything. All that power is transferred through this kind of keyway that it locks into. And then this gear is the one that's actually transferring that from the kicker idler. So I think it's gonna be okay. It doesn't look too bad. We'll go ahead and clean up this other side. And I do have another one of these backing plates on the way, or another one of these ring gears on the way. So if and when we do tear it apart, we'll just replace it all together. But for now, I wanna see if this works. And that's the 1 penny trick. All right, guys, well, thanks for joining us on this one. Unfortunately, we did not get the bike to start, but that's okay because just in time, we got our new ignition from the guys over at Vape in the Czech Republic. You might also notice that we've got a new space here. I've got some new cabinets, a nice new big toolbox, and a lot more room for activities. So I'm looking forward to enjoying this space more and more as it continues to develop. So stay tuned for the next one. We'll be overhauling that ignition on this bike and hopefully getting this thing on the road. So we'll see you then. Peace.